not like the other places that say things under the guise of facts. A lot of good football and sports going on, so it's a great time to catch up with that stuff.
First off, it's the Cowboys, so good is relevant.
I said good. I didn't mean that one, but
okay.
Yeah. I think it's funny though. Even Chris, Monroe, such a big Cowboys fan, he usually watches. Chris is even admitting that some of these memes about Dallas and stuff are hilarious.
Oh,
He goes, it sucks and it hurts, but you got to laugh when it's funny. And that's what I think is. We're talking about First Amendment being funny. If you can't find humor and stuff,
right,
and you take things so serious, the world's lost. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? You lose.
You start looking like Cody.
It's true. Glazed over. It's just tired, you guys.
Cody,
I peeled myself off the couch to get here, dude.
Look at
Cody,
him. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Cody,
it's close.
Cody asked for a bye and then
he
asked for a bye for tonight so we could maybe not have the show, and then he did LOL, and then Zach does a voice message on Messenger. We have a little message board for the show, and Zach leaves this message, and it's in a really rough, I hate my life voice. Cody, your bloodline is weak.
Yeah.
We never not have sessions.
Must persevere.
Yeah, and then I think you're trying to think of something else to say, and you're like, is bad.
Yes. there was a deliberate.
It
wasn't even deliberate.
It started off real Lord of the Ring-ish, where it's it's grand, and then it was stop being bad.
Stupid doo-doo head.
Stupid doo-doo head.
Poopy mouth. Poop mouth.
You're a butt cheek.
Butt cheek.
Got him.
Those are the best insults.
Right.
Where you just think of random things. Your left nipple.
I hope the underpants gnomes eat you alive.
May the fleas of 1,000 camels infest your armpit hair.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the best. When you have to put thought into it, it's kind of funny and interesting, as opposed to the normal cut downs. Anybody could say my beard's ridiculous or I'm ugly, but put something fun into it.
We're trying to make a joke, not a fact.
See? That's what I'm talking about. Ha! So if you'll notice, it's just the three of us today. I'm kind of letting the show kind of go through its own course of action. We have people that ask to be on the show, and so we have them come on. Then I invite people on tonight. Just the three of us. I
think that child should be on.
Bring him in.
Come on in here, buddy.
Sir, can I borrow your 5-year-old?
You look like it.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. Hey,
go right ahead.
Hey, buddy.
You look so trusting.
Yeah. Walk out with your cigarette. Hey, kid, doing anything tonight? I want to borrow him for a second or two.
You want to make a star, don't you?
I'm going to put him on Facebook. But anyway, it's fun. So let's get into some stuff here. Don't want to just keep bantering back and forth because sometimes you guys are too funny for me and I sound like an idiot. So we got to get on to some actual stuff where I take back control.
Sometimes.
I take back control of things, so I'm safe. Being surrounded by all this wit and bullshittery, I got to be careful.
Good looks and brains and. Sorry, Alex.
Talking about, he was looking at you when he said.
He said brains and looked at
He
me.
did. He sure did. He was.
Sorry.
Anyway,
I was looking at my reflection.
He pulled a compact out when he said good looks.
Cody said it all bland, and then I realized he was looking at his reflection over there, like he said, "You're so beautiful."
Who is that boy?
It puts the lotion on. I would date me.
Would you fuck me?
I'd fuck me.
I'd fuck me
Hard.
I'd fuck me hard.
So hard.
Goodbye, horses.
Precious.
All right, so this is derailed fast.
I don't know that's derailed. I think this is how this show should go. So, by the way, if you're watching, you've never watched the show, we do a lot of movie and music references on the show, and it's kind of fun. What's that for?
I had no pin.
I have a pin.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Your pen's probably got sex on it. I don't want that.
You best chicken and check yourself.
You got some sex on your pen somewhere, I'm sure.
That's not my sex pen.
Oh, that's not your sex pen? Oh, cool. Make sure when you get the sex pen, I want you to stick it in my drink so I can be sexy.
And I'm flaccid for the rest of my life now.
I just wanted it in an orifice of mine.
Orifice. I don't feel like I have any control over this show right now.
You don't.
I don't. I'm just along for the ride. I'm the guy in the back of the rowboat where you both are looking at going, yeah, he's next.
Shit, we got to get out of here. This is backcountry.
Yeah. So, did you have a good Christmas?
I did. I got a new action figure. I'm really excited about it.
Fuck yeah.
What is it?
All right, so it's actually it's.
What's funny is it's true.
I know. Like,
You actually got it, and you're excited about an action figure.
Yes.
So
It's from the NECA line. NECA makes high-end action figures, if you will. But it's Sam from Trick or Treat, and you can take his head off and put a new head on. And I'm not sure if you saw
you're
Trick
so
or
excited. You're dancing.
Treat. Oh,
with
dude,
excitement.
like it's amazing. I love it. I love it.
You know what? It's endearing about you, man. It really is.
All I had to do was trade a box of 64 crayons with a sharpener in the back,
Nice.
and I got a.
That sounded like a prison trade.
Oh, dude, it was great.
That's awesome. And then you got to see family, you said?
He's sneaking into the back of a playground, trading with these kids.
Hey, kid,
You want some Crayola?
I'm behind the slide. Sir, why are you reaching up and grabbing my ankles? I need to talk to you. You won't listen. So you said you saw family?
Yeah. My mom came down with Jackson, my little man,
And Jackson's your son?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
and had a blast. Hung out for a while. Saw a
Awesome.
movie. An awesome movie.
Yeah.
Which movie?
Just a
new Star
vile,
Wars.
terrible
The new Star Wars. I
loved it.
bastardization.
Oh, I'm glad.
I absolutely loved it. Zach hated it, but
I'm glad we brought that up because Cody's in here last night, and that subject just kind of popped up, and Cody's like, I don't know what Zach's talking about. And I
Yeah,
said, very
I
opinions.
sent him a message that said the exact same thing.
You did?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? That was amazing. I was like on the edge of my seat the entire time. I loved it.
And I just had to tell him, wrong.
Wrong. Hugely wrong. So, why didn't you like it?
They bastardized everything we love and
What do
wholeheartedly.
you mean bastardized?
All of a sudden, you got a
Look,
fucking...
not everybody out there is a cinephile. So
There's
please
like
explain what you
one
mean.
thing that kind of bugged me about it, but
Hey,
it's kind of a
heads
spoiler,
up,
so-
children. Spoilers.
All right, spoiler alert, but you don't have to be specific. Just give us a basic.
All of a sudden, fucking stormtroopers are force sensitive. Come on, that's some bullshit and a half.
they gave stormtroopers like emotion.
You're gonna die, I'm gonna bring you back. Now I'm gonna die, you gonna bring me back.
Honestly, I was okay with all that. The thing that bothered me the most
Was the guy who died should have fucking stayed
when
dead.
did you start being able to like move things through space with the Force? That kind of bothered
So
me.
that was actually explained during the KOTOR and Shadows of the Empire saga. Fun fact, gotta read books for that. But if you never read those books, you have no clue that this happens. And it's called a Jedi Force link, only typically used by gray Jedis. Example would be Qui-Gon Jinn. You know, so it's not a situation that none of these were gray Jedis.
Right.
You know, so they shouldn't be able to do it. Better yet, caused by a Sith Lord. Definitely shouldn't be done.
Right.
You guys are freaking geeks, man.
I believe it.
Yeah,
guys
but
are
we
nerds.
fuck. So,
You're freaking nerds. Oh, I'm not saying nerds aren't
Our
sexy. I'm
penises
just
are
saying
huge.
you are super nerdy.
yeah, let me pull out my Webster's and see what a penis is.
Well, here's my thing: is I'm not a Star Wars fan. I've made that clear before. So when I hear bad things about films from Star Wars, I'm okay with it.
Give it a chance, man.
I
Give
get
it a
out of the
chance.
theater flat out. I text him like, dude, garbage. He's like, well, I'm happy I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm sorry for your loss, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it sucked.
I loved it, man. I really did. I thought it was awesome.
And I think that's
Super action packed. Like, dude, there were some times. You can't tell me there weren't a couple times where you were like, "Fuck yes, dude." You can't say that there weren't a couple times where you were like,
Sure, when Lando
Yeah.
showed his face.
"That was pretty awesome."
I got a chubby, all right?
Whenever the fucking entire galaxy's worth of fleet comes at the end, dude, that was pretty fucking.
I don't want to
cute.
admit
I
it,
got goosebumps talking
but
about
that
it,
was
dude.
bitching. Like it really showed what the rebel forces were about.
Right.
fantastic.
Sorry, I'm so erect right now.
So
Let's talk about something else.
am I the only nerd who like used to get their porn from the dictionary? Like I'd look up,
Yes, you
labia
you
majora.
literally
like,
are.
That's what.
You
that's
literally,
what-
we all went labia majora again.
Damn it.
You literally are the only nerd that does that. Yeah. Where's the clitoris at?
You can't even find the dictionary. It's
Some
crazy.
guys can't even spell it, much less find it. All right.
They're just running around with exposed clitori.
Clitori. Her labia majora was exposed for all to see.
Just the majora.
All right. So we're going to move on past Star Wars. But anyway, that's what I think is the good and the bad of having a franchise like Star Wars.
I want to
Is
say
you-
hi to Garrett
you
real
get,
quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Garrett? And continue.
Which Garrett is that, Mize?
Yeah, Garrett.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, our dude.
Yeah, that's our dude.
We love Garrett.
That's our tattoo guy, right?
Got some sick ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a super talented guy, man. And we love
And
it.
for so young,
we love
too.
his girl, man. Paige is an awesome
Paige is a
girl.
doll.
Yeah, we
Paige
love her.
is a doll.
They're just fun people.
Yeah.
They really
Oh,
are.
absolutely.
They were in that
Absolutely.
video when the Isabella played down here. I
Yes.
did that close up thing, and they were both kind of on one. And Paige had this look like, I don't know what I'm doing, but woo! It was awesome. But yeah, those are good folks, man. If you want to, where does he work?
Tried and true.
Tried and true. So if you want a really good tattoo, I mean really good. He's actually super
classic.
talented.
If you want a good piercing, if you want a tattoo,
Yeah.
if you want your hair done, they're all
That's true. They
fantastic,
do a
dude.
lot of stuff. It's like a one-stop shop for like personal.
Phenomenal. I
personal
want to say
stuff.
they actually have $20 piercings going on until the first.
I think they offer that. Yeah.
Trying to go in and get my lip pierced for the end of the year. So,
But we have Heather. Heather comes in here, and
she's the one that did my hair.
yeah, Brandy comes in here. Both we love
Your
them to
gorgeous
death.
hair.
And then of course Garrett and Garrett's one of the experts down there. But yeah, if you want a tattoo, piercing, hair, get your hair did real nice. Guys and girls, it's one of these places where everybody's, you get to know the people and everybody's cool with you, and then they might even invite you out for a drink. That's the kind of place they are. So make sure you go see them. And hey, hello, Garrett. All right, so I want to bring this up. I've been doing some research, and I want to send out a little warning for this. These DNA and ancestry kits
I got one of those.
that are.
Keep going.
You just want to everybody to know everything about you, don't you?
My heritage is white as fuck. I was kind of disappointed.
You're
really.
so European.
Yes.
There's the clan, and then there's Cody.
I'll show you guys later. It's bad.
There's the clan, Cody. No, here's the thing. The reason I don't like them, and this is the thing, it's important to know where you come from.
Sure.
It really is.
I came from a vagina.
Well, some feel that way. It's good to know where your ancestors from. Like I have Scottish heritage. I'm actually related to Queen Mary of Scots. I found that out. That's really
Weird
cool.
flex, but keep going.
I'm who?
That's a weird flex, but keep going.
No, I'm name dropping heavy, man. What's up, Queen Mary? What's up, homie? Now, you know Queen Mary better from Bloody Mary. Stand in the mirror, turn around.
Bet you ain't got shit on William Wallace, though.
They'll never take our Liam! Liam Ollendorf. Because that's hilarious. But no, the reason I wanted to bring that up is that's kind of the new thing, the DNA and the ancestry kits, man. But listen, I'm big on government conspiracies, as you are too. What's the best way? And I see these memes on Facebook sometimes where it's FBI director talking to CIA. How can we find out where more people are at?
10-year challenge.
Let's start this ancestry DNA kit. Well, how do we know really who they are? Well, let's do a 10-year challenge, and we'll see how they were then, and we'll see if they're now. We can print facial recognize everybody. It's crazy, man. It is. It's nuts. So here's my thing. If you want to do the ancestry and the DNA stuff, ancestry is one thing. That's kind of just tracing your lineage and your ancestry. But DNA, dude, once you do a DNA, it's on file and
Mine's already on file.
Same.
Oh, but you're going through treatment and stuff. So
Oh, no, I just meant with the legal system.
Same.
not with the legal system, is it?
I've been arrested.
You have? What'd you been arrested for?
Murder?
We'll talk about this later.
Oh, we're
I
not.
don't want to air out my dirty laundry here.
Look at Carl. Rubbing the nipples. But here's my thing. I'm big on government conspiracy, and I don't want the government coming into my life for any reason. So I don't want them having, and they probably already have it. I don't know. But my point is don't just give that up so easily. Be like a prom date and like hold back a little bit.
I was not a proper prom
Unless
date.
you were a hoe. No, I'm sure you were a
I was
hoe. Prom date.
Actually, I did mine because I was trying to find my biological father. There's a lot of connections between, like, I found my biological father's half sister by doing this and stuff. And I don't want to find the dude as far as like to meet him. I don't give a shit. He didn't give a shit about me, that kind of thing. But it's good to know like half my family history, like medical history, things I should look out for, that kind of thing. So. That's why
Were you a little? The other reason
It's actually a gift. It was my mom got it for me for Christmas last year.
Were you apprehensive at all about what you would find out? Were you worried at all?
Like Zach said, I'm already
like
in
what
the
if
system anyway.
one of your family members was a grand wizard in the KKK? Remember Michael
change me.
Scott?
That's
Remember
not-
Michael Scott?
That does reflect on my fucking decisions.
Michael Scott
That's for sure.
related to Michelle Obama, and then Andy family owned slaves. But that's the thing is, it's a blessing and a curse again. In life, there's so many balances. There's good and bad with everything. So if you do the DNA and ancestry kits, do it. Go into it with an open mind. Go into it knowing that your information is going to be out there. Unless we have a crash of the world, meaning we go into an anarchist situation where the government crashes, and of course I'll be corrected by what what's his name, who defined anarchy for me.
Danny, sorry.
Danny corrected me, defined anarchy for me. I think a lot of people connect anarchy with like chaos and upheaval, but his definition was literally no government, no control.
I mean, I took a DNA test.
Found out you're 100% that
bitch. Yeah.
That's your favorite song.
I fucking
you and
hate
Chris.
that
You and
woman.
Chris have been posting memes about the world would be great if it weren't for that song.
Dude, mine ain't even me. Mine's hand fucking written out. I even threw Guy Fieri in the mix.
You say you wanted Lizzo to die in something.
Car crash.
I want Guy Fieri to run into Lizzo, killing both of them in an explosion on the way to Flavortown.
You hate Lizzo.
I do.
Why do you hate her, man?
Everything about her.
Really?
Yeah.
Confident women intimidate Zach real bad.
It does. It does. Like, I come from the day where they can't vote, so like, when you hit my age, I always go for the ones who have no confidence.
Speaking of confident women, there's a confident woman right there. You are awesome.
Zach always picks out the weakest gazelle in the Serengeti.
He calls them. It's like he waits for the one that falls behind the crowd.
Oh,
look at her. I'm jumping. Hey, honey. How you doing? Wait, I'm supposed to catch you. You don't need them anymore. You've got
pretty
me.
if you smile more.
Zach starts out his dates by insulting them and then building them back up.
I always double check to make sure, do they really need the whole milk? They should try skim.
You suck. Oh, anyway, going back.
I order for my dates, actually. Like, I'll sit there and I'll order a half rack of
That's
ribs
because
with
they
two
can't
steaks.
order. They're locked in your trunk. They can't
And I'm
order
telling
food.
you right now, they will eat a salad.
They can't order. They're locked in your trunk. They can't order the drive-thru. You got them locked in there.
Always makes me think of Dutch. You ever seen the movie Dutch?
Yes.
Your water sure looks tasty.
So be careful if you do the DNA and ancestry stuff. Just keep that in mind that you are kind of opening up your life to strangers, so to speak. And
I thought you were going to say, be careful if you date Zach.
Well, definitely.
That too.
And
tested.
Contact someone, anybody, before you go on a date with Zach. Steph, I can't believe you're still alive. All right. And I mean that in the best way.
Not sure if you noticed, none of y'all seen her.
I haven't. And you've been saying, she's just staying home. She's tired. She's working a lot. Yeah, we're going to see you on that investigation discovery.
You just wait till I wear my new suit.
No, you look too much like a killer. You look like a killer. And that's the thing. People that look like it it's not. It's always that person that doesn't look like Cody doesn't look like no, he does. He looks like he would be like a co-ed killer, like the guy that like swoons all the women and gets them and then kills them and buries them and then goes back and has sex with the corpse. He's one of those.
Weird turn fast.
No.
I'm just a murderer. You're a necrophiliac.
All right, so something I saw really interesting. We were talking about movies. We talk movies pretty much every episode. And I found out Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails, and a genius with music. He's produced and scored many movies, a bunch of different movies.
A lot of people don't realize it, though.
Yeah, he's a super not only is he intelligent, above average, and he used to have his studio down in New Orleans. And I had a buddy of mine, Aaron, and lived down in the 9th Ward, which is just, and he worked at a place that was right down from Trent's studio, and Trent used to go in and eat at the restaurant he was working at. But Trent got in after Nine Inch Nails, and during Nine Inch Nails, he got into doing movie scores and what do you call it when they do that? What's that called?
Composing.
Composing. What's it called in a movie when you get the
Don't tell him conducting.
soundtrack? Yeah, kind of soundtrack. I almost said conducting.
I know.
But Trent Reznor, head man for Nine Inch Nails, and has written many songs for a lot of different people. He was doing an interview, and they were talking about recent stuff he's worked on. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but he did the score for Bird Box, the movie that was on Netflix and that became so popular. But he was actually on the road on tour when they finished up the score for that, put it with Bird Box, and he basically found out where his score was at, and you can't even hear it. It's so small and in the background of it because you hear birds chirping and all this other crap. You can't hear his score. Right. And he said he was wasting his time.
You can hear it.
You can hear it in like when the sister's driving the car and she looks at the creature and then she drive basically what she do, drive into the side of something, kills herself. You could hear it then. And if you've never seen Bird Box, there's a lot of mixed reviews on it. I was surprised that it was able to do what it did. I'm not saying it's a great movie, but I'm saying it was well acted by Sandra Bullock. You had to act like you were seeing something freaky and scary, and I thought they did that well. But
ultimately, it's a waste management documentary.
A waste management documentary. Why? Because it's killing people?
Because it's garbage.
Because it's garbage. Well, for whatever you think about the movie, Trent Reznor did the score for it, and he was disappointed in how much the score was utilized and how much you could hear it. But you're saying that when you watched it, you could hear it a little bit.
I also look at movies a lot differently than a person.
You do.
Yeah.
And look, you could.
I can tell you whether or not it's shot on 35 millimeter.
Right.
You know.
So, and I'll tell you, as a person that I'm kind of, I'm in the middle from where you are and where some people are. I'm a movie fan in general, the art of making movies, as you are. But I'm not as critical as you are. I'm more kind of surface level. I'm like most people out there. I just want to be entertained for an hour or two. But you actually go into the technical, the deep side of it, and I get that. We need deep divers like you so we can find out more about films and stuff. I did not say. See, you guys turn everything into something.
I'm literally 12. So
you are literally 12. That's okay though, man. We want to keep that youth in our minds. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I love grungy Alan Rickman, so I totally can get behind that.
Yeah.
He looks like a grungy Alan Rickman.
He really does. Mm-hmm. He really does. I never thought about that. That's crazy.
I'll accept this. Yep. I'm Alan Rickman.
That's awesome.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman. Hey, Jay is back.
What?
Jay Johnson's back in the house.
What is you wearing?
Well, Jay, you probably don't. I noticed that you don't watch the show when you're not here, which whatever. But I do want to say we mentioned you on a show or the show before, and I said thanks a lot KFES for taking Jay for his job. What T-shirt are you wearing?
For this segment, can we start bringing a red carpet out and rolling out?
Right?
So what are you wearing today?
Yeah. Oh my yes.
Oh, he's wearing Prada.
Come let him see. Just flash it on there so everybody can see it. Yes, that's one of my favorite shirts right there.
Baytel juice.
Don't stop it. You only have 2 more times.
It's showtime.
Somebody's. Oh, that's not it. I was going to do the Jim Carrey, and I'm scared. I'm worried that you knew that as soon as I said it.
I've seen Mask a lot.
The Mask. Anyway, so check out Bird Box on Netflix if you haven't checked it out. It had a huge following, man. And it was actually I think it really is what kind of put Netflix on the map as far as making film.
Oh, Stranger Things, dude.
Stranger Things that's kind of like a TV
I will 100%
series.
back Stranger Things.
Right, so you like some of the stuff
I think
Netflix
that was
does.
their first breakthrough. Holy shit, Netflix is making crazy good shit.
So what do you like about Stranger Things the most?
Dude, the vibe of it, the soundtrack.
It's like an 80s feel,
No,
right?
I'm sorry. I will actually counter your point of Stranger Things being what made them.
I mean,
House of Cards.
House of Cards was really
House
good.
of Cards. I really want to say
Orange is the New Black.
I give credit to both of those. House of Cards. If you never watched it, it's Kevin Spacey and who else? Robin Wright Penn.
Phenomenal fucking show.
It shows the dramatics and the conspiracies and everything that happens in Washington. And the irony is many things that they have on the show that are fictional are based on real life things, and then some of the stuff they do that they make up actually happen in Washington. It's freaking scary. But Netflix is and I think it was covered on a couple of different podcasts and talk shows about Netflix, is they're losing money hand over fist, but they've come out and said we don't care.
No, they're billions of dollars in debt, and they're still pumping out great shit.
Yeah, they don't care, and this is the way I look at it. It doesn't make me feel better about my personal debt, but I will say that in Hollywood, as it is in big business, they carry a lot of debt because they're busy trying to entertain people. It's not like they're carrying debt, but it's different kind of debt. Now, it's like not the debt we have where they turn our lights off. This is debt to cinematographers.
I got to pay my electric bill.
Crap like that. So go on Netflix, go on Hulu. What's another good show on another carrier? Because you have a bunch.
Hulu. Fuck, I haven't been watching a lot of TV lately, honestly.
The Boys is great.
I haven't had a chance to watch
That's
that.
on
That's
Amazon.
Next watch.
Mandalorian on Disney Plus.
that, yeah.
Let's go with Jack Ryan on Amazon is great.
Yeah, it's got John Krasinski in it.
It does.
So fine, and you have all the streaming services because it's actually cheaper than cable or satellite, and you get basically everything you want. Yeah. Hey guys,
friends.
So I will say I'm actually going to look into that and talk to my wife about it. That I don't really watch a lot of TV. I get caught up on sports, and maybe I might see if there's any major
I watch movies.
news issue, but I do watch movies.
I mean, shit, you can get HBO ESPN and Hulu bundled together with Disney Plus for $12 or something like that.
I'd proudly steal HBO.
I would too.
From a close friend of mine, and I love it.
You know, do you think about it like this? Is Netflix, Hulu, and some of these others? Amazon has some pretty cool shows on it too. Miss
Good Omens.
Good Omens, but there's the one Miss
Maisel.
Miss Maisel.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yeah, Marvelous Miss Maisel. I saw somebody who's going to watch that, and they said it's amazing. So I got to check that out.
I watched a little bit of it. Pretty cool premise.
Did you? Mm-hmm. What's the premise of it?
This woman's trying to make it as a comedian. Back before women
back
were
in
allowed
like
to be
50s.
comedians.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be really sharp writing and really cool. So go out there and find other forms of entertainment. Of course, I still have an affinity for going to the movies. I know you go to the movies at least a couple times a month when stuff comes out.
That was back to back. The last movie I went and saw in theaters was Rogue One, and then the next I just went and saw Star Wars again.
I cannot say
back to
the
back.
same. Like
I never
go to the movies a lot.
You saw The Joker, and you've seen Star Wars.
That was my first time sitting in those new seats. That's how long it's been since I went to a movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't like them. They're not fat people friendly.
Fair enough.
They're not. Well, that's it.
I feel like
Gotta buy two, man.
I do that. You knew where I was going.
They're divided. But the problem with those seats at the theater is when you first sit down, you're like, "Oh, this is comfortable," and then it leans back, but not far. Like it's got that weird in between lean back.
A little bit further.
Yeah,
back.
it's like it goes, and it's almost like you're in a mid sit up. And if you look at me, I don't need mid sit up.
Oh, absolutely.
I need the whole thing, but I'm not going to want to do it during a movie.
Sit-ups ain't going to help you.
Yeah. So let's talk about movies that suck but sell tickets for a minute before we get into some other stuff. By the way, you're watching Session Stream live from Shaker's Bar downtown Cape every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. I've got my guests here, Cody and Zach, just the three of us tonight. Kind of shortening things up.
The three of us.
Yep, that's right.
We can make it if we try. Just the three of us.
One
You,
of
I,
us.
and I.
One of us.
Gobble,
All right.
gobble,
So
gobble,
movies that
gobble.
suck that sell tickets. I'm going to throw a few out there, and then you guys we can hash it out. Bird Box. You think it sucks?
Well, you can't throw that out there. It didn't sell tickets.
It's true.
Okay, what I mean by selling tickets is how many views people liked it. That's what I mean by selling tickets, meaning popularity.
Thank you for clarifying this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Way to make me be more specific when you actually knew what I meant. So, Titanic, one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah, but paint me like your French woman.
Avatar sucks.
Avatar was great.
Avatar sucks.
It's Pocahontas.
The acting is horrible, the writing's horrendous, and it's because it's James Cameron, and they had all these great visuals that it was
Starting
so
to think
good.
you don't like James Cameron, man.
I don't like James Cameron.
I'm starting to think this might be a
the next three are Transformers.
People are like, you're a hater. No, I'm not a hater. I just don't like some of the stuff he does.
It's not a hater, he crushes a lot.
Now, this is close to home because my wife likes these shows. Dirty Dancing, sucky movie, but super popular.
Better hope
You need to
wife
calm
thing
down
works
on
out 'cause you
baby,
just ruined
bro.
your chances of pussy for the rest of your life.
Why? Because I don't like Dirty Dancing? It's horrible acting.
What next? You don't like Ghost?
You saw my list, fucker.
Do you really not like?
I have Ghost on here.
Dude.
Patrick Swayze was not a good actor, dude.
Yeah, and he couldn't dance his way out of terminal illness, but we still love him.
Oh. Why do we still love him? I liked him in Roadhouse. Does that help?
That was my
Okay.
defense. That
All
was
right.
my
Look,
defense.
actors can be in certain movies that suck, and then they can be in movies that are really good. It doesn't mean I don't like the actors, and that's what I want to make clear. There's certain movies that people like because actors are in it, certain actors are in it. I'm saying the movie as a whole, like for example, Grease, sucky movie.
I liked Ghost because you got to see Demi Moore naked.
You saw her
Plenty of
naked?
places seeing that one. Or
Where did you see
Oh,
her
yeah.
naked? You just saw a chest shot.
Oh, dude, you got perfect side boob, bro.
You were so desperate.
What's up?
You were so desperate. I prefer Demi Moore and G.I. Jane, just to say. Just saying. Come on, man. Nothing
More
like
of
a
a striptease
powerful
guy
woman.
myself, but go ahead.
Ho ho!
Oh, it's true. Burt Reynolds with the Vaseline, just squishing through my toes. Oh my God, that's crazy. So, here's the thing. I know a few of these probably piss some people off, and if you do, please comment, let us know. But what my qualifications for a bad movie, since I'm not saying they're good movies, my qualifications are: is the acting bad?
We actually already have a response about Grease.
Yeah.
It says, you're the one that I want to go bash your head in. It says it's from John Connor. I don't...
John Connor.
There's
Stupid.
a funny story behind that one.
No, you explained it on one of the shows. He still does it.
No, last week we were at Rude Dog, and we're up at the bar buying shots for everybody. And me and Dustin, I'm talking to Dustin Miller, you probably know him.
Yeah.
And we're picking out who we're all buying shots for. I was like, one for me, one for Zach, one for Bob. And he's like, Zach. And I was like, he's like, you mean John Connor? And I was like, God damn it, Zach.
Yeah. So now I stand up there and I ruin his John Connor scene as soon as he
literally
says
my
it.
goal. I've ruined it from the bathroom.
Because
before.
here's what it is. It's funny for a while, but he does it like to everybody. Hi, John Connor.
John Connor.
And then everybody goes, "Oh, that's a cool name, man." Is that like that's like the
My
Terminator.
parents were fans. Yeah.
Your parents. Parents were fans.
I even have mail sent to my house under John Connor.
So anybody out there that got named after an actor or a movie, we'd love to hear your response. Put it on here and let us know whether you like it or don't like it.
My nephew was.
Really? What's your nephew's name?
Lucas Donatello.
Oh, no. Donatello after the...
Ninja Turtle.
No.
And Lucas after Luke Skywalker.
No.
Yeah. I was not proud of this. I did not choose this name.
Okay, I get finding people to name your kid after, whether it's like historical icons or people that did great things. Like if you name your kid Martin Luther King, that's fantastic. That's a great icon. But sometimes you don't want to take the name. But if it's...
I get it. I want to name my kid Pollock, but I just settle for Jackson. So.
Dude, yes.
That's not why you did it, though, right?
You wait till
didn't
you
do it
see
because of
his
the artist. No. Okay, good. So, first of all, if we want to go into that for a second, ladies and gentlemen that have children, do not look at a name of a drink or a sign or a street or some ridiculousness that you think is going to be cool for the kid, because you don't have to live with that name your whole life. You have to. You send them in the world eventually, hopefully, and they got to live with that name. Why are you making faces?
I was told to smile, so.
That looks so uncomfortable. You are part Wookiee. You are.
That was bad.
Oh, that was.
Mine comes out more like sloth.
That was like baby Wookiee.
Right.
Like baby Yoda.
Oh, I get to keep Cody now. He'll be
So
kidnapped.
why is the baby Yoda stuff? Why do they do it like little baby talk? Because it's baby Yoda or what?
Adorable.
Yeah, I think it's a sales tactic.
It's working.
I'm just saying. Look, all right. So one of the best things, Steph made me cookies. All right.
Yeah.
She's
By the
sitting
way,
there.
let me just say, Steph's pretty awesome.
She is.
She
She's
used
a
to bring
dog.
you food down here,
Yep.
cooks for you all the time. Yeah.
I could text her right now, I want food, and she'd bring me food. Like, she's awesome. But, like, she's cutting out these angel cookies, and then she snaps their head off. Because if you paint the top green, it's a little baby Yoda.
See them.
Why not just leave the heads off?
Because then it's baby Yoda with the tumor.
I'm just ready for baby Chewie or baby Wookiee.
Oh,
to
yeah.
come in. You know, we've never seen a baby
We
Wookiee.
call them Ewoks.
You're right. Yeah, pretty much.
Baby Wook. Oh, Ewoks they're adorable, man. I got Shih Tzus, and in the face, Shih Tzus look like Ewoks.
Just name it Wicket.
And the second one where Chewie's eating that bird, and the look on that thing's face, Jesus, dude, I died.
Yes.
Do you see the similarity between the Gremlin, and then Ewoks? Do you see any similarities in the face? There's a lot of similarities.
And before,
See, I see more in, like, Baby Yoda and
Gremlin.
Yeah.
I can see that. Like
Yeah.
Gizmo.
Oh, like a Mockwai?
yeah, like a
Mogwais.
Gizmo,
Okay.
like Gizmo, the cute Gizmo. My girl just found that movie. I just showed it to
Phenomenal
her the
movie,
first time. Yeah,
yeah.
it's awesome.
Really behind on the 80s movies. Just gotta
Steven
speed that
Spielberg.
up.
Yeah. Well, I try to keep my kids as innocent as much as I can, as long as I can.
We just out of this at
we
times.
just spoiled them on Santa Claus this year, so we just basically
You're a monster.
yeah. You're a monster, Mr. Bill.
I'm wearing women's underwear.
Have you seen the Reddit for the Gumby? We're all Gumby. Have you heard about that? There's this weird.
Like Eddie Murphy?
No, Gumby like Gumby. There's a weird Reddit.
What a weird
thread.
Reddit subreddit.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
Right.
yeah. If you have I discovered Reddit
Why
thanks
don't you,
to.
why don't you jot down space sticks and go check that out when you get home?
No, that's
Yes.
all right, I'm good. Be careful when you go on Reddit. Let me just tell you, there is no filter on Reddit. If you go to a subreddit and it has a category like gory cakes, don't look at it. It'll be like hands and cakes and just like don't do that stuff. That scares you. But anyway,
You can literally watch a fucked up show to Reddit.
oh, I know, and you
I
can
do.
stay on there for hours at a time.
I do.
I like the people fucking dying, but it's like every other letter, and it'd be like a girl viciously mauled by a dog, and the dog's like, it's like super cute. It's fucking adorable, dude. You have
How
to
was
watch
the
it.
dog? What was the dog?
Like they like just playing with her, like it's like
You're so
It's like a
cute.
little puppy, dude. It's adorable.
You're
Seriously,
a
you have to
cute
check them out.
puppy. You're a cute
Thank you.
puppy. I would bring you in from a storm.
That was a cat, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, you were a cat?
I would not.
I would not leave your mangy ass outside.
I can fend for myself.
All right, so
Shack up with another stray.
I thought it'd be cool to tell a Christmas story or two, since we are still in that season and it's a day after Christmas. So I'll start with a couple of my stories, and you guys can jump in with anything. My grandma, I was super close to my grandma, as many of us are, but I called her Mid because her name was Mildred, and we grew up calling her Mid. And Mid loved Christmas more than probably anything else during the year. She left her tree up all year long in her family room, and we would come over every Christmas morning. So we'd do like Christmas Eve at my house or my trailer if we had, and a lot of times we didn't get much because we were broke. But I was always looking forward to Grandma and Grandpa's, Mid and Pawpaw, because they were pretty financially okay. And so when we went there, we had a great Christmas, man. It was gifts, and to a kid, the more gifts you get, the better your Christmas is, right? So we go over there, and especially being broke, and we go over there. Usually went over there about 9 in the morning. We'd get our stockings literally hanging in front of the fire. Traditional, very traditional. What's funny is, though, my grandma, she used to call her morning constitutional. And if you don't know what that is, that's old school for taking a dump in the morning, basically.
A BM, if you will.
Yeah, a BM. So, and my grandma was very proper, so she said, I have to take care of my constitution this morning. So it's like she was going to a meeting. But there was
Drinking a red potion.
Yeah, there was a bathroom right off the living room, the main area in the house where we'd all sit, and we weren't able to do our stockings or anything.
Sorry, that's my favorite part of the night. Keep going.
I know, people trying to park. Watching drunk people trying to park. She would, we'd go into the living room, and our stockings would be hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there, and he'd already come, so we were able to get our stockings.
I bet you came.
Grandma Mid would be in the bathroom right there, off of the main room, and every year she would do this. She would sing, "It's beginning." She'd be taking care of business, and she'd sing, "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas," from the toilet. And it was just funny because growing up, my sister and I, you're not allowed to act like you're embarrassed about your parents when I was a kid. That was shameful. You weren't supposed to do that, right? Nowadays, kids do it all the time. They shame their parents. But we would sit there, and the room would be very quiet because, of course, the kids are staring at the stockings. And Mid would be in the bathroom. "It's beginning to look a lot." And we would get embarrassed because she's singing. And my whole thing was, now I read, I do finances.
Did she sing louder if there was flatulence?
No, she didn't care. No. She was no shame in her game. She figured when she's in the bathroom, it's in the bathroom. The irony is there was a bathroom upstairs, and she didn't go up to that bathroom, but I wish she had. I wish she had gone up to that bathroom, because there's nothing so disheartening and uncomfortable that to have to use a bathroom after your grandmother, and your grandmother has eaten ranch dressing.
Hello.
Hey, Danielle. Has eaten ranch dressing for a while, dipping stuff in ranch dressing, or some type of dairy product or some type of chips.
Granny had a lot of eggs.
Upset her belly. Oh, yeah. Eggs are bad. My sister had an egg. She ate eggs, and for about 2 weeks she had everything she did, body function-wise, smelled like spoiled eggs. We don't know what the doctor said. Something got caught in her colon or in her intestines, and just in there spoiling. And she was, it was
should have had a colonic.
God awful.
I lost mine to a tragic reindeer accident. So.
All right, Cody, got any funny Christmas stories or?
The way I found out Santa wasn't real was pretty funny. The night, Christmas Eve.
What?
Right. On Christmas Eve, I walked in. My mom had a craft room where she'd do all her sewing and stuff like that, and I couldn't find my mom anywhere. And Dad was obviously kind of trying to distract me, but I ended up breaking away somehow, and I went to find Mom, and I opened up her sewing room, and or maybe it was the other way around. It was the other way around. My mom was trying to distract me. My dad was missing, and there was no reason for my dad to be in the sewing room at all. So I was like, this is weird. And I opened the door, and he's in there putting together a bike, and I was like, and he's like, get out, go, blah, blah, blah. And I closed the door real fast and went away. And
you ruined it.
And then I went to bed that night and got up the next morning, and I went and looked at all my presents, and one of the presents was a bike. And then it was from Santa.
You put it together.
And I was like, and my parents tried to save face, and they're like, well, Santa dropped it off early, but it wasn't put together, so I was just helping him out, put it together. My dad still tells me the story.
Scrambling for answers.
Yeah, my dad still tells me the story. He said he got done saying that, and my face was literally like I don't believe that at all. So then they just had to break down and tell me that Santa wasn't really.
How old were you?
Probably 6, 7.
Oh man,
That's pretty young.
That's pretty early.
Yeah.
What about you, crazy man? I don't know if I want to ask, but do you have any Christmas stories?
Yeah, we would be sitting there with our stockings hanging over our unsafe fire heater.
I don't know if he's telling. Like, I don't know if this is real or not.
This is what happened.
You've got that. You got that.
I
weird
too lived
voice
in a
going.
trailer, but we had a space heater.
Fuck yeah! I lived in a trailer.
That's why I said
and
I
we
too.
had space heaters.
You said fireplace.
It was called that was my grandma and grandpa's. We used the oven. Thank you very much.
Dude, it fucking works. Though.
I know. Well, at least for like 10 feet. So we would sit in the kitchen in our chairs and put our feet up on the oven door. Now that's broke, and you can only do that for a while because the oven costs utilities.
That costs some money.
All right, so is this a real story you're telling?
Yeah, no. In all honesty, so mine is actually something I still do. It's not necessarily funny, but it's heartwarming, if you will.
What?
Yeah.
You're gonna tell a heartwarming story?
Yeah.
I mean, let's give it some time. Well, that's his description of it, not ours. So
I'm gonna wait.
So every year in our stockings, we always got a banana.
For scale?
What is going on?
Yeah, I always got a plantain, but some of us got bananas. And but no, like produce was always expensive. I mean, it still now is expensive. Yeah. So, when you're on the government peanut butter and government cheese, man, not knocking that shit. It's delicious, but
it's delicious though.
Yeah, like bro,
remember that cheese was like concrete though.
Yeah,
the cheddar.
Oh, dude, it was rough coming out, but it was good going in.
Yeah, it was rough.
I'll take that government peanut butter though.
It's kind of hard to mess up peanut butter.
Yeah. But
get cheaper peanuts.
But we always had like a banana in our stocking, and I'm 30 years old. The first thing I ate Christmas morning was a banana. To this day, like
you still do that?
Still.
What was the reason? So you'd eat something healthy or something?
No, it was like a luxury. We didn't have them in the house. A
banana was luxury.
We were really fucking poor, man.
Isn't that ironic? Like some countries, eating a banana is just part of your everyday life because it grows on trees. But here, we got to buy it all.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, I mean, now, sure. I mean, I make enough money. I can just go, if I want a banana, I'll buy a damn banana. But
you're oozing with money. I can tell by the way you dress.
I mean, I'm going to tell you.
I can tell by the way you comb your hair.
I don't comb my hair.
They don't make combs for this.
He did once, and I was like, what's wrong with your hair?
No, he did. Like, when he comes in fresh from a shower, it's hilarious because you smell so fresh from a shower, and your hair is, like, kind of down, and I'm describing you in a kind of a weird
I don't
way.
know how many times I'm sitting outside waiting for you guys to open up.
And it's just dripping off his body. It just coming down from his...
kind of condenses in his chest hair.
Yeah, and it comes off the back of your neck and rolls off your shirt, and then when I hug you, like, gets on my cheek.
You get it. You want this dick. But no, like, I don't know, like, in all honesty, he's actually describing me far too well. Because I'll be sitting on this bench over here, and, like, people will be like, do you need $1, man? I'm like, man, I don't look like what the fuck?
You and Leonard. Brandon does those memes for Leonard.
Yes.
I'm going to start doing memes on you. Sitting on the bench. You make more money than I do.
I would just be like, sure. Thanks.
Well, like, I looked at him, I'm like, no, I'm good, but, like, homeboy over there, he needs, like, 89 cents. Yeah. Like, go help him out, man. Like,
send him to me next time in here.
Right? Like,
yeah, for sure. So the other one is, as kids, I think I was probably 8 or 9. And one year, my mom was able to, I don't know if it was how she did it, but she ended up having enough money to get us pretty good presents. And the one year all I wanted was a skateboard. And at one time I was smaller and I could be on a skateboard. But that's all I wanted was a skateboard. And at that time they were super expensive. It was back in the 70s, and so they weren't like so readily available in Walmart and everywhere. In fact, there was no Walmart in Cape back then. It was nothing. So she gets this skateboard, and how do you wrap a skateboard unless you put it in a box? Well, she didn't put it in a box, so she wrapped it and put it under the tree. And of course, I could see the shape of it, but my curiosity, I had to know, did I get a skateboard? Because I was like so excited, man. I had some friend that was just getting into skateboard, and I thought, man, I want a skateboard so bad.
So like if it looked like a duck and acted like a duck, you had to make sure it ollied like a duck.
It wasn't enough. It had to ollie like a duck. So I thought, well, I'll poke I'll like pull one of the ends up, and I'll peek in. I'll be able to see a wheel or something, the frame or something, the board. And I had to pull a little bit too hard, and I ripped the paper. more than what it should have been ripped. And I had to try to kind of almost basically rewrap it. I got to see a skateboard was in it and to rewrap it, and which was hard, being like 8, 9 years old. And you think it's real easy to wrap until you try at that age, and you're frantic on top of it because your mom's working her second or third job. She's away from the house, but you got to get this right. So I couldn't get it back all the way, and so I put the part that I messed up like against the tree, like up against the skirt of the tree. I remember we had a tree that was like on a table or something, it was a small tree, and so I pushed it against something to try to hopefully no one see it. So my mom happened to see, I guess because there were so few presents, she knew when things were moved, and she looked, she could tell that I'd opened it. And she came to me and she said, you know how mom, parents always ask when they know already, they're like, you got something to tell me? I'm like, no. What do you mean?
Hell nah.
Yeah. No.
I didn't do shit.
No, I immediately went.
This is entrapment. You're gonna have to figure it out yourself. Right. I'm not giving myself up.
I immediately went into that blank face look like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What am I?
Did I?
What are you talking about? And you try to cover it up, and then she flat out said, well, if you're not going to tell me, then I'm going to go ahead and just take the present. You're not going to get it. And I knew she knew what I meant, so she told me what it was, and I was like, no. Christmas morning, the skateboard wasn't there. And I was devastated, man. I was bawling. I'm 8 years old. I'm thinking of getting skateboards, not there.
Crying like a bitch.
I was. Yep. I'll take that. I was. 8-year-old boys cry as much or more than girls do anyway.
I'd go with more.
Yeah, more. 8-year-old boys are like super emotional. Like they're trying to find their manhood, so in that search for manhood.
I found mine in Jag a Little Pill.
So basically what she did was she hid it, and then when we went to my grandpa and grandma's, she put it under the tree. And she said, I'm only giving this to you because I can't take it back. So I got it by elimination. So
funny.
I
definitely peeked in a few presents on my upcoming.
Did you?
I was pretty sneaky about it.
Were you?
I don't know if I ever got caught.
I did not.
Maybe.
Well, I think it depends. I guess it really depends on if you have. I think if you have a bunch of presents under the tree and they kind of get scattered in, like at my grandma's house, it wouldn't have been really caught. My grandma used the same paper for everybody, even Santa Claus, and I'm like, why does Santa Claus have the same wrapping paper as my grandma? And she explained it like this: well, he borrows my paper when he comes here. I'm like, wait a minute, he comes.
Always
down
got a fucking excuse, don't
comes
they?
down the chimney, check. Gives me presents, check, but yet he doesn't bring his own wrapping paper. He borrows yours. Stop questioning me.
See, like I had that concern because every fairy tale is Santa comes down the chimney.
Yeah.
I flat out asked my parents, I'm like, we ain't got no chimney.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Santa's got a key. He'll just let himself in.
Oh, that's psycho Santa.
Dude, fucking terrorized me
Stalker
in my
Santa.
youth because now I got some strange fat man breaking into my house, leaving shit.
I will be
eating
the
my
only
food.
fat man sneaking into my house.
Dude,
all right?
like it was detrimental for me.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing is, I want to do something in full disclosure from last week's show.
What was it?
Uh-oh. Okay, the body's not made up of 96% water.
It's not?
No.
Man,
Sorry.
I've been feeling like shit though, but I thought it was only because I'm at 95.
You're not alkaline enough. So listen, I think, in all fairness, I think he was given what he thought were facts from last week, and no offense to him, but when we're talking about science and the composition of the human body, we all kind of sat there when he said that, and we all kind of looked and were like, 97% water. So we want to let everybody know. Last week's show, we had a guy on there that has a lot of passion about what he does, and I give him respect for that. He's a fighter and he's a vegan lifestyle, but there were a couple of mistakes and some things he said, and I just felt like I needed to call it out.
Would you say it was about 96% mistakes?
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to clear that up because if you watched last week, a few of you after the show, Zach was like, "That was horrible," but
that was terrible, man.
That was terrible. We want people to come on the show, but as we do often on the show, if you're talking facts, make sure your facts are correct because we'll either know right away if they're not or we'll look them up. So, I just wanted to correct that. We know the body's not 97% water. Isn't it like 96% of the earth is covered by water? Is that the fact? Something like that, right?
I think it's like.
You think it's lower than that?
70 something, I think.
No, I think the
body's
human
in the
body's
80s.
70 something.
I think it's in the 80s, isn't it?
No,
82.
somebody can look it up.
Hey,
Anyway.
we're all lazy. Google that shit.
Yeah, somebody Google it and let us know. Like, respond. That's why we have our page open so you can get in and.
Looking at you, Carl or Nick
Yeah, Amber's watching too. Amber can help
or
us.
Ember.
Amber, you can help us. Get on Google and let us know how much the human body is water and how much of the earth is covered by water. Let's see what the facts are on that. So, you are watching Sessions streamed live from Shaker's Bar, downtown Cape. We're so glad you're here with us as we delve into silliness and happiness and serious stuff. And we got a pretty serious main topic tonight, guys. And we're going to talk about
AIDS epidemic in the 80s.
the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and we're going to talk about media and politics. Now, we're not going to talk about politics on one side or the other. That's not why we're doing it. We're going to talk about politics in general, the theme, the way things are nowadays, and the media. Are you guys?
You're just finding these like perfect ways to beat around us, taking our tears.
I know. I'm doing it on purpose. That's why I do the show.
And there it is.
I had to give you one at least, since you guys are on opposite sides.
I've done my way.
I broke them up. You guys aren't on the same side of the table. You can't rub each other's leg right now.
I don't really know how to act like it.
Cody's,
what you think.
Cody's got his foot
Where
out,
my legs are.
doing a crotch dance.
Yep.
So we are going to talk about politics and media, but we're mainly going to talk about media's influence in our lives and how much not we being us, but how much a lot of people rely on that stuff for their information, and then they kind of let it govern their lives. And we're going to talk about that too. But speaking of that, we're going to go right into the First Amendment. Now, everybody knows the First Amendment has to do with freedom of speech and freedom of the press. It's basically it was the First Amendment in the Constitution. It was considered probably the most important. And the reason that free speech is so important and the freedom of the press, used to be important, but free speech is so important because it allows us to live, say, and do what we want to do. As long as we're not physically affecting someone else, we're allowed to say whatever we want to say. And I know Crowder, like Steven Crowder, we've talked about him quite a bit. He talks about this a lot, where free speech should be free. It doesn't matter what you say. And we've said this too on the show, that it doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want, but there's consequences, right? So be aware, when we're saying free speech, we don't mean that there's not people that are going to be affected by what you say. But if you're going to be in a country with free speech, it has to be free speech. It has to be everything you say. And I'm going to just bring this out there. I don't ever say the N-word because it's not something I say. But
I do.
By free speech standards, you're allowed to say the word, whether you are or aren't. It's something I don't say because I was raised, I don't say it. But the point is, there are people that say it. And in this society, I know people get hurt by that word, but should people be hurt by that word? I mean, you're someone that's big on free speech.
Sure.
A big proponent of free speech. And sometimes that free speech is not always what people want to hear. I mean, you're very outspoken and honest about how you feel about stuff. So, and that's one reason why people like you, and then some people don't like you. People have come in here and said they don't like what you say on the show. The point is we want everybody, and this free speech goes both ways. If you're a raving lunatic and you hate Trump, you're allowed to say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want about Trump. If if you want to say whatever you want about Planned Parenthood, you can say whatever you want about Planned Parenthood. And so what I want this discussion, when we're talking about First Amendment, I want it to be about the fact that right now in this country, whether you like it or not, whether you're liberal, conservative, whatever it is, free speech is free speech. You could say whatever you want, all right? Keeping in mind that you might say something that's going to hurt somebody's feelings, and sometimes people react when they get their feelings hurt. So, Cody, you're a very fair-minded guy, man. You think on both sides of things a lot, and just being serious now for a little bit.
It's the key to being open-minded.
Yeah.
Got to be able to see both sides of something.
Right. So
there's points on any side of any argument. You know what I mean? Or you wouldn't have an argument in the first place.
So you pretty much say a lot of how you feel about stuff, but I do know that you put a lot of thought into what you say sometimes, because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Well, it's not just that, but if you're not 100% confident in what you're saying, then you can regret what you say, and I know I don't ever want to regret what I say.
So you think free speech has to do with what you're saying, that you say confidence? What does that mean?
No, like I want to say with confidence that's what I actually feel. Sometimes there's a subject that I don't necessarily have a strong opinion towards.
Okay.
So if I haven't thought it through and I don't have an opinion based on some sort of knowledge or basis of anything.
Does free speech have anything to do with feelings?
No.
By definition, no.
No.
Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't want to say something and not have all the facts behind it. I don't want to say something.
He doesn't want to say something and not be able to back up his bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So being clear about that is, you don't want to say.
That doesn't mean I couldn't.
Right. I think like with Zach's situation, Zach's one of these guys that believes free speech is completely, it's for everyone and it's open to everyone, and you do it no matter what. In your situation, you know you've pissed people off and you've said certain things, and you know that you don't give a shit. And so here's my thing. A person like you and a person like Cody, you think through kind of things you say. You're very careful. Even though you do speak your mind about stuff, you are a little more reserved about how you say stuff. You are not.
Correct.
And being a stand-up comedian and someone that's very plain-spoken. So I mean, I'm kind of in between the both of you. Like, I don't say everything I want to say because out of necessity for being a business owner. I've been criticized because people criticize my politics, even though I seldom talk about it on here. But there are all kinds of labels and stuff you put on people with free speech, and people can think what they want to think. You have to get to know me. But Zach, in your situation, when you say what it is that's on your mind, you truly believe in free speech. Do you ever consider what you're saying and what the results could be, the consequences from somebody else?
Not initially, no. So there are times where I'll say something that, I believe, I wholeheartedly, feel, but then there's been times I've said something to Cody and I'll be like, all right, look, man, that probably came out wrong, but
is coming out wrong the same as free speech?
Not
you could
necessarily.
deliver a message the wrong way, like you didn't intend to be, because sometimes free speech can be directly meant to be hurtful. But in what you're
Right.
saying is, you have to, when you're doing free speech, depending on your audience, you deliver it a certain way.
Sure, like I care about Cody, I care about how he's going to take something.
Right.
All right, but if I'm just, let's say that it's not like a conversation betwixt us,
Yeah.
and I'm just at a dissertation or something, and I'm talking.
Are you are you at those often?
I've done a few.
Okay. I know you went to med school. Go ahead. sorry.
But like if I'm just talking, no, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to say exactly my train of thought. I'm going to say how I feel about it. And that doesn't stop anyone from being like, hey, dude, like, fuck you, you're wrong.
Right.
Just because I say something doesn't mean someone has to agree with it. It's my right to say it. It's also their right to fucking knock me down.
Right. It's their right to respond however they feel suitable.
My problem with free speech is when you have all these foreign countries, if you will, stating they have that free speech too, but then the next day you're on a human rights tribunal.
And that's a good point. We are the only country it's in our Constitution. We literally, in our rule of law, in the Constitution that governs this country, that the Supreme Court uses and that law enforcement uses to enforce our laws. Yeah. We're the only country in the world that clearly states freedom of speech is a born right of any American.
And it's free speech without additives.
Well, and that's the thing. Here lately, in the last 5 to 10 years, we've had a lot of people wanting to add additives to our Constitution. They want to add things like, okay, well, you can't say something if we determine it hate speech. And my problem is, and a lot like Steven Crowder, is I don't want the government telling me what is hate speech.
Right.
I don't want because that's politicians and bureaucrats determining what is great for the populace at the time. So in other words, whatever their constituents think and how they're going to get their votes is how they're going to govern. And that's what I don't want. And that's why the forefathers, the founding fathers, they said, yeah, I want to get hit by a car. Guy riding his skateboard on his butt riding down Main Street. Where's your parents? He's probably 24, 25 years old.
I'm telling you,
people are
natural selection at this point, though.
It is. It really is.
We've gone too far.
We got like a big, large screen TV here. But my thing about it is, and that's a great point about other countries. This is the only country that has complete freedom of speech. There's some that
you got like North Korea.
Well, yeah,
North Korea's got great free speech policy.
You have free speech in North Korea only if you say what's on the script, and then you're okay.
Of course.
You ever see? This is what I find hilarious about
Kim Jong
North
doesn't
Korea
poop.
is how they clap. They're so vigorous, and they have this smile just painted on their face because they don't want the cameras to catch them and have them not going, oh, Kim Jong-un. So that's what I'm saying. Like even countries like Canada, you can be put in jail for saying hateful things.
You ever
in Canada.
watch any of their things with subtitles?
The North Korea?
Yeah, anytime they're clapping, it just shouts out, "You're my boy, Blue."
You're my boy, Blue. All we are is dust in the wind. So we want to keep free speech alive and happy in this country because our founding fathers and the people that established this nation believed that the First Amendment was fundamental, was the basis of how we were formed. And I say this with a lot of passion because if we start losing these rights, if we start taking away and adding additives to our Constitution to water down some of these things that are so black and white. Freedom of speech it doesn't say but or and if, it says freedom of speech is absolute.
Same way with our freedom of press, freedom of religion.
Right.
It's not you can believe in God, but you can't believe in this God. It's freedom of religion.
Right, and that's the other great thing, that when you're talking about freedom of religion, you're talking about freedom of speech, freedom of the press. If we start infringing on any of those rights, if we start nitpicking and pulling away and pulling at the threads on the edges, we erode those. And that's what happened in the UK and Britain. That's what's happened in Germany. Well, Germany's a bad example, but Germany
great example.
Yeah, well, they're better. It is better now than it used to be. But the prime example,
significantly.
Yeah, the prime example is that is why this country is the beacon, the guidance for a lot of other places of democracy. We're a republic, but we're democratic in the fact that there's a difference there.
And if you have oil, we will help you find democracy.
We will. Yeah, we will. It's not to say that we don't make mistakes. Not to say.
What is it called? It's something democracy. Fuck, I can't remember. Keep going. I'll think of it.
It's not that we don't understand that other people have other beliefs and other feelings, but I wholeheartedly believe in free speech because I want to be able to say what I want to say without punishment or reprimand. And that's the problem is how many of us out there don't say what we want to say, whatever it may be.
Say what you need to say.
Because we are afraid or concerned about the reactions or the response from people around us. And I think it goes all ways. I mean, if you are of a race of people that says something negative about another race, and here lately it's been in fashion that certain people can say things about white people and it's okay, and I don't think it's okay.
Just because you can say something doesn't mean you should.
Right. But it's still their right to say whatever they want to say. But it's got to go all ways. If you're going to say something about somebody, they should be able to say something back, and that
yeah, fuck you, Whitey.
Back and forth. That back and forth needs to be back and forth, not just one way or the other. It's got to be a give and take. So that's the important part about it. The problem now we have with freedom of speech is it's right in with freedom of the press. The press is supposed to be completely free and open, right? So reporters are supposed to be able to report on the facts and be able to expose problems. The problem with it is news sources are now opinion sources.
What?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You didn't know CNN was like that? Or
no.
Fox?
Journalism's dying out hard.
Yeah, and I think some of the old school guys, if you talk to some, if Walter Cronkite were still alive,
he's rolling over his grave right
yeah,
now.
he's so
miss Cronkite.
Yeah, he's so disappointed because Cronkite would look you in the face on the news report in the evening, and when he said something to you, you knew it was just him reporting what happened. It wasn't him going, well, my cousin's baby sister so and so is in this group of people, so I can't say it like this. No, it was just flat out what the news was. This happened, like there was an explosion. This happened to this person. It wasn't. There was an explosion. It's believed to be domestic terrorism. It's believed. I don't know that that's important. We put a lot of adjectives and descriptors on when we do press, and that's the problem. Is Fox News is just as bad as anybody else. When you have lean and you have sway in your reporting, no one takes you legitimate. They takes you serious. I don't know what's so funny.
You said lean.
You said lean, man. That's all I was thinking about, man. Get that scissor.
We're 12, dude.
Lean cuisine, is that what you're thinking of? I don't know what you're talking about.
We locked eyes and slowly smiled.
I think that has more to do with your
it.
attraction for each other than it has to do with anything else.
Byproduct.
But I'm super disappointed. Where do people get their facts now? That's
Facebook.
my thing. Facebook, yeah, that's good.
Actually, I do want to say something about journalism, though. Please tell me someone saw the front page of the Southeast Missourian.
Which one?
They did it would have had to be like Christmas Eve, that edition.
What did it say?
So front page, it was fantastic. 2 Cape Girardeau police officers had the Grinch bent
Grinch,
over the
yeah,
fucking.
yeah. I did see that.
That was down at Sugar Shake.
And it was a photo shoot. I get it, but that was fucking delightful.
Right.
Yeah, that was down at Sugar Shake. So they did a thing with the community where kids could come out, and it was one of the owner's husbands, I believe, that dressed up like the Grinch, and it was pretty cool. They had a couple of guys, and one of the guys was Will Rogers. I think he's a corporal, maybe. But I know Will for years. Will is a police officer at Cape, and then I can't remember the other guys. I met them both down here. But yeah, that was really cool. That was a great. And the Grinch
nice.
makeup, like his face was perfect.
It was spot on.
Yeah, it was really good. So
Awesome cosplay shit.
Yeah, I
man.
compliment. Yeah, that was. I compliment Sugar Chic and their effort to be involved in the community. That's a great place to go. It's a little small place, and they've got great. I think they get their ice cream from Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin dairy ice cream. It's really
like
good down
cheese.
there. I like cheese too, but they have great ice cream down there. So check out Sugar Chic if you're down in the area. They have great stuff. So speaking of the cowboy right off the range,
I think we're ready for savory ice creams at this point in the country.
Thank
Savory?
you.
What's that?
Thank you.
Savory, like I don't know, like gravy ice cream and macaroni and cheese ice cream and
I think we need a more
What?
umami flavor.
Yep.
I mean, we do, like, hands down.
Macaroni and cheese.
Doesn't have to be sweet. You know what I mean? Why does it have to be sweet?
Like,
I'm
in,
saying.
It's
all right,
ice cream.
Try it. Let a gourmet chef cook
Look,
you some like
Yeah.
if
good
you-
mac and cheese ice cream, and you'll see. If
It's
you
like a
change your
lie.
opinion.
I don't want to be lied
if
to. when
you
I'm eating
could
ice
eat
cream.
gelato, which is not always sweet,
But most of it is.
but not always.
It's like an icy. It's mostly sweet.
Look, we're gonna hate to tell you this, but you're wrong.
Your opinion is wrong.
Yeah, that's
Fuck your free speech.
my opinion.
Shut up.
Wrong. There's nothing better than that, man. It's nothing better than having a discussion with somebody and go, "No, your opinion's wrong."
We're
you're
just-
just
How
wrong.
is my opinion wrong?
We'll kick it right back to PBS. You're wrong. What you were thinking is yes, it's great. Moving on.
Socialism. So, anyway, getting back to our topic. So now let's talk about the Second Amendment a little bit, which could go on for a
Pretty cut
long
and dry.
time.
Everybody gets the right to a pair of bear arms.
Right. Why is the First and Second Amendment so very important to our democracy?
Master, destroyers.
The Second Amendment, when it was established, was to fight tyranny. It was so individuals
Will never be oppressed again.
right, and so individuals could rise up against a tyrannical government, whether it was foreign or domestic. Domestic, actually, to me, is more. I'm more worried about a domestic situation than I am about a foreign situation. Maybe at one time when England was
Right.
our oppressor, but now it's more internal, and that's the scary part. And Lincoln said, "A house divided will never stand."
Will not stand.
Yeah.
Yep.
We will lose our country from within before anybody else takes it. We could see those things coming at us. We could see Russia. We could see North Korea. We could see those things happening. We could see problems with their involvement in our political system and election. But from within is the worst. And so I want to talk about that when we talk about the Second Amendment. I want to, as someone that believes in the Second Amendment, full force, wholehearted, I want to make something very clear. Me wanting to own a gun is only so I can protect myself, my family, and others around me. That is why I own a gun. I don't own it so much because somebody said it's your right to have a gun. I do it because I know what guns can give, the advantages guns can give you in a time of turmoil. And I think if you ask some people that lived back when the redcoats were coming, if they had not been given if they had not hidden weapons away from the British and were able to fight against them, we might be a whole different country right now.
You're probably drinking tea.
Drinking tea.
And I'm not talking about Gold Peak.
But so let's talk about the Second Amendment for a little bit, and let's talk about why it's important to average Americans, and then what people need to understand about the fact that we're not gun lovers. We're freedom lovers. It's not about loving guns. It's not about loving the violence that comes with guns. It's about loving freedom. And the gun is the one thing. First, they take away your speech, they take away the press, and they take away your guns. So why, and it's whether it's political or not, let's just put it right down the middle. Everybody believes that our right is to own a gun and defend yourself. So let's start at that. If you don't believe in that, then there's nothing to talk about. If you don't believe that it's your right to own a weapon and protect yourself or those around you, then you don't need to be in the conversation because there's no sense in even talking about it. But if you believe that, we can start from there, and then we can start to talk about realistic measures that can make things safer. Okay?
Well, it's not just owning a gun, though. It's the right to actually form an organized militia as well.
Right, and let's talk about that for a second because I think it's
important. Because I think that definitely needs to be.
Yeah.
Right now we have a militia organized in Virginia.
Right. There's militias throughout. I think they said there's 18 or 20 militias throughout the country.
Well, sure.
Substantial, but Virginia has one. It's actual Commonwealth, so they have a non-governmental militia that is citizen.
Well, and the only reason why I threw that one out in particular is because of. Right now, with their gun reform, their buypacks, they're trying to take their guns and shit.
Right.
These men
are saying hell no.
Yeah, we'll fucking do it again.
Yeah. And I think, and this is what people need to understand about the freedoms that come with it. The freedom we understand is something that some people may not understand, but if you're going to live in this country and you want to be a citizen of this country, whether you are originally from here or not, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to be here and you're going to exist under our laws, then you have to understand that that's one of our laws. And look, the fundamental right to keep and bear arms against tyrannical governments and for your own, it didn't mention personal safety, but I think that should be a give-in when it comes to protecting yourself.
I think it should be, here's your citizenship, here's your 9 mil.
Right? But that's a good example. Is like it should be so ingrained in it is that we need to educate people about the use of guns safely, and we need to make sure that we have better checkups on people that need to be checked up on.
And just to play devil's advocate, you also have to think about the fact that these are laws that were put into effect over 200 years ago. Guns weren't in the same state then as they are now. You had to barrel load a musket whenever they were making these laws. Now you have guns that can unload an entire clip into a crowd.
But do you think that had anything to do with what they put in there?
I get the devil's advocate.
Yeah. The basis of the law was set in a time when things weren't the same as they are now. So I'm not saying that
with the mentality of the government having the same style of weaponry.
I'm all about being. I fully support the Second Amendment. I definitely believe everybody has the right to a gun, but I also believe that, like you said, there should be a lot more regulations on them because of how much technology as far as firearms has advanced since the time whenever these laws were made. You know what I mean?
I hear what you're saying, but I want to try to talk something. So what were you saying, Zach, in response?
I was saying that what you were saying there, muzzle load and so on and so forth, that was the same military grade weaponry that the militaries had at that time. Right. We're trying to fend off, muzzle loads using muzzle loads.
Right. Now
we're trying to fend off automatics with semi-automatic weaponry.
And that's a good point. So Cody, with what you said, don't you think that the founding fathers realized we probably would make advances with weaponry?
Yeah, but that's why we have the ability to make amendments to our Constitution. You know what I mean?
So are you advocating for an amendment?
I think something needs to be done to control guns a little bit harder.
So what would you suggest?
Definitely more strict laws as far as owning a weapon, like the background checks, how long it takes to get one.
What kind of background check would you want? Because they do those now. There's federal background checks.
It's the area gray with the HIPAA policy.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm assuming, but that tends to be a standard argument.
When's the last time you went to buy a gun?
I've never owned a gun. I fully support it. I just don't personally.
So in the state of Missouri, and I'm just going to talk about Missouri because it's state by state.
Sure.
But in the state of Missouri right now, if you go to a gun shop and you go to buy a gun, you cannot buy a gun in a gun shop without a background check being done. And that background check is done with the local sheriff's department and the FBI. And they're tied in with the same APHIS computer and they check it.
Is it still 7 questions?
It's something like that. It's like a 2-page thing, man. It's like, have you been convicted of any felonies? And then they call in, and they basically say, here's your social security number, here's the name, and they check you.
Do you think you should have to take a psychological evaluation before you get a gun?
I mean, how are you going to do that? At the gun store? I mean...
Why do you need a gun that day? Why can't you wait a little bit? And
because it's your right to own it.
I know a schizophrenic right now who has an armory in his basement. Do I think he should have a gun? No. Personal beliefs, of course. Right. But...
How old is he?
I'm 30, he'd be 30.
But you can
32.
be schizophrenic and not be violent. Like, that doesn't come hand in hand.
That's true.
I'm just saying, like, a small questionnaire by a psychologist isn't going to take an extreme amount of time, but you can definitely figure out some people that don't need to be owning a fucking gun.
Okay, so what you're saying is, just so I'm clear, you think that part of the qualification process to own a weapon,
you should be mentally stable.
You should have to go through a psychological review?
Which mentally stable is actually one of the questions.
Not violent. How's that? Not violently unstable.
So it's up to the psychologist if you get a gun.
I mean, yeah. He'd have to clear you, yeah. Or else
yeah, but I'm saying is, if that psychologist is any way politically motivated, no one's getting a gun.
But
you know what I'm saying?
You'd have to obviously have somebody that's biased on the subject. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I get what you're saying, but what you're talking about is
I'm not saying it's realistic. I'm just saying there's things that need to happen.
Well, I want to talk about what's realistic. And so if we're going to be safe with guns, right, the best thing you can do is have responsible gun owners own guns.
Keep them away from Courtney Love.
But
how do you feel about like training seminars after you own a gun? Like, you have to go through firearm checks. You know how to clean it. You know how to load it. You know how to use it.
So I will agree, and this is one thing that I wanted to bring up. I agree that when you buy a weapon, just like a driver's license, you have to go back and you have to refill out for a driver's license. I honestly feel like that if you're going to own a gun, you should be able to demonstrate not only how to safely use the gun, but to safely take care of the gun. And I, to a certain extent, agree with you. I don't know how it would work, but maybe we do it like the driver's license process. If you want to own a gun, you have to go through these basic things. And here's my thing. My concern with that, my only concern with that would be is, it's so easy to politically motivate people to do certain things that those instructors in those classes could somehow manipulate things. And in the way we have it now in this country, if you can walk in and you don't have any registered felonies or any mental health disorders or domestic violence on your record, you can buy a gun. I think that there should be something that I think gun shops might be able to, offer some type of training, and I think they do offer training. You have to seek that out, but that's part of being a responsible gun owner. Right. I don't know that you should be kept from owning a gun, and that's the thing is there are some common sense things, but we have to be able to sit down and talk through what it is. Look, if gun owners, like, I'm proud Second Amendment guy, man, but I'm also very reasonable and I have common sense. Do I understand that there's a lot of violence that happens with guns? Yes. Any weapon, not even a weapon, your hands can be weapons, your car can be a weapon, but we also have a qualification to drive a car. So I do agree with you to a certain extent.
Also be kind of cool, I mean, it's like I said, not obviously that realistic, but as far as keeping people responsible over their gun, if you like having a driver's license, you have to go back and do a driver's license test every few years, you know what I mean, to make sure that you can still drive. Why not have to bring your gun in to get it checked and make sure that it's still your gun? It holds the person responsible for keeping track of their gun. If your gun's gone and you didn't report it as stolen, then you sold it to somebody and now you're held accountable for giving guns to people that don't need them, you know what I mean?
Well, that's true, but then you have the problem with, like, say we're friends with Zach, and Zach, for some reason or other, can't get a gun.
I like how our friendship is hypothetical.
No, I mean,
let's just
in this situation.
Let's go out.
Let's just say that I actually like Zach. No, in this situation, you're still my friend, but let's say that you cannot acquire a gun legally, whatever the reason. But I know as your friend that you're having a situation that you need a gun in your home. I know that you have something going on where you have an outside something bad. Now, as someone that cares about you as a person, my first thought is, I'm going to loan you one of my guns. Because I don't want you to be defenseless without a gun to protect yourself. And unfortunately, in this world, I have the same thing with Cody or anybody else.
But that's your decision to break a law based on what you believe in. That doesn't make it right.
It's not a broken law.
You can lend somebody a gun?
Yes.
I could own a gun right now and sell you one. No backgrounds required.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
So what you're supposed to do, and this is what responsible gun ownership, and I will tell you, I've bought a couple of guns like that from an individual, but both the individuals did what they did was a bill of sale. And it's simple as writing it out and signing it. And then you keep the bill of sale with you when you sell it. And that way...
But that's a paper trail. That's what I'm saying. That would be fine. If you bring in that bill of sale, then they can bring that person in and make sure the gun still works.
Right, but the bill of sale could be on a bar now.
It could be anything. But here's the other question. A lot of people ask this, is we're getting into the laws on things and restrictions and regulations. What's my concern is the reason I don't like to, I mean, I register my guns when I'm supposed to, but why I don't like it is because if they ever do decide, if our government ever
now they know what you got.
They know what you have, And then if they do like Australia did, which was I don't know why they called it a buyback, because it was mandatory. You had to bring your guns in, and they gave you fair market value for it, so they said. My concern is them, the wrong president or the wrong congressman getting in and putting through legislation that says you can't have these, like AR is the big one right now. And someone saying you're going to have to bring your AR in so we're going to have to buy it back from you. Well, let me tell you something. I will never turn my guns over. I'm saying this flat out.
Not.
I will never turn my guns over to any government entity, because my right is to own one. And my concern when we start eroding away at rights, and we start finding little pieces of the rights, and this is what the NRA and the gun ownership lobby says. The minute we start giving away, like on bump stocks and things like that, and I was fine with Trump signing that, knockout bump stocks, whatever, because I don't see the necessity in having
They're
those.
fun.
Yeah, it's whatever you think about that. But I'm concerned about eroding rights, just like they are with speech right now. Right now, free speech is yes, but. And my problem with that is if it goes to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court for some reason, whether we have a conservative president, Republican or liberal, Democrat, it depends on whoever's there. If they stack the court like Trump's doing, he's trying to make it conservative because he wants his vision of things to be, to kind of be the overriding factor in what's made the laws. My concern is that the wrong type of leadership will erode away at our rights, and I do not want to be doing this show and having the show get caught up because one of us says something we think or our opinion, and then somebody says, "Oh, no, we're the thought police. You can't say that." And that's my concern. Is you talk about Big Brother, and we talk about Blade Runner and several other movies and books and things that really insightful people wrote and directed and starred in.
Fahrenheit 451.
Fahrenheit.
Logan's Run. I think that needs to be enacted.
Logan's Run. You talk about the frightful, scary part of governmental intervention in our lives, and it's downright scary, man. And I'm just going to tell you is I do not want to live in a world where the government tells me what I can and can't do. And right now, there's several countries that happens. And this is why this country is set apart from other countries. When we say we're the best country out there, it's not just because we have all these freedoms, but it's because the things that we do, you can get me a bottle of water, the things that we do are a guidepost for other places. And any country that's trying to be more democratic, I mean, a lot of times we will impose our will, so to speak, on other countries, but we just know how awesome it is here.
Yeah.
And even this is the only country where people are like, screw this, screw that, I'm moving, I hate this place, and yet you continue to live here.
You stay.
Yeah, Canada's just up the road, man. Go to Mexico or Canada. You want to live and you think it's better. And that's my whole thing about it is, I'm not talking about immigrants, I'm not talking about citizens, I'm just saying in general, if there's something you don't like about this country, and it's something that you just can't live with, then feel free to leave.
No one's keeping you here.
No, try going to Germany or Japan and trying to get those governments or those people to do what you want them to do. Go to Saudi Arabia. Go to any Muslim governed country, and try to be homosexual. Be homosexual in a Muslim country.
No quiz here.
You can't do it, and that's what I try. We're being very honest about this. But the truth of the matter is there's places in this world where you can go and you can be killed just by who you love.
Yep.
And that's asininely ridiculous. That's what I love about this country. As much as you could say negative about this place and things that we could do better, you cannot say that we aren't the most free and open country in the world. And that's what's awesome about it is you did it again. I might drink it this time. Actually, I'm going to open it up and drink it just to make your joke not as good.
Oh, it'll still be fun.
It's still good. Because now he's posing in your body.
Now I win. What do you mean it's not as good?
You got me.
Oh, Christ.
America.
Kiss my grits, bitch.
America. But anyway, I was just saying, we are the best country in the world because of what we accept and what we embrace. We embrace the fact, and look, Zach is a very outspoken guy, and so am I. You basically say how you feel about stuff, but you also believe people should love who they want to love, go to whatever church, worship whatever you want. If you don't want to worship, that's what's great about this country. There's many countries right now. If you say, if you said something like disparaging, like if you disparage God or a certain religion, you could be arrested in many countries. In the UK right now, in certain parts of the UK, you can't even, if you are if you're a UK and you're a European and you're of white descent, you cannot walk in certain parts of the city.
Yeah.
It's no-go zones. You cannot go there. And it's not fair and it's not right. And so my whole thing about the Second Amendment and First Amendment.
We call ours East St. Louis.
Oh, wow. Well, you can go there, it's just at your own risk. I mean, I guess that's how it is in other places too. But see, so let's be a devil's advocate about that since we like doing that. Let's look at why East St. Louis is the way it is and why it becomes the way it is. Because they segregate themselves.
Yeah.
Not just East St. Louis, but many places do.
Sure.
Because they're fearful of outside people coming in because they don't know what the deal is, especially if you have a white face, because they've learned that you can't trust that. And I get that to a certain extent. If you live in a certain part of the world where a certain skin color equates into violence, meaning every time you run into that skin color, you're going to be fearful. I get it, man. That's why as much as I don't think it's right, people sometimes have their own areas. Now, then that goes to like the Muslim areas in UK, no-go zones. If you have a white face, you can't go in certain areas. Women have to cover their heads because it's part of who they are. There's a give and take to that. There's the side that says, well, I should be able to go wherever I want, but then there's also the side, well, there's ramifications if you do. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how it is. That's what I like about what this country is supposed to be, even though if you go up to Minnesota, and you go up to some of the places in Minnesota, they have closed communities up there where you have to worship a certain way and think a certain way. Anybody that thinks that's okay is not, to me, embracing. Well, it's not embracing our laws. And this, where it comes down to, if you're going to be in this country, we want you to assimilate to our laws, just as any country government would want you to do. Do you disagree or agree that this country accepts everyone, and we just want you to understand?
The country, yes. It's individuals that don't. You know what I mean? As a whole, I think we're meant to be accepting, but that doesn't
ignorance
mean
will always exist.
Right.
But sometimes, is that lack of acceptance good? Is there a reason that we might not want to accept someone? Because in turn, how we said a certain skin color can be fearful to people, that could go both ways, right?
Sure.
I mean, if you feel like, if you're an African American, if you're a black person in this country, and you've had bad experiences with police officers, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I'm saying there are some that happen. If you've had a bad experience with a police officer, and most of your teenager and adult life, when you've dealt with that, you've dealt with this tension and pressure. I don't know what that's like to live like that, but does it make it? It doesn't make it okay. Does it make it not okay? My whole point to this is this country, our amendments, our First and Second Amendment, sets us apart from every other place. And I don't ever want to lose that. And that's when we talk about eroding away laws and talking about things, amendments to amendments. If there was some common sense, we talk about gun reform, right? A lot of times we hear politicians say gun reform, but they don't get specific about what they mean, because that locks them into something, right? What's something, if you were going to get elected for office, and I would vote for you, by the way, because you have a lot of common sense. But if you were getting elected and you were going to, say you got elected to the State House and you were going to Jeff City in Missouri, what would be, as far as gun legislation, what would be something that you would maybe introduce as a bill or a law, that's something that might be reasonable in your mind?
I'm trying to get elected.
Well, no, you say you're
trying to
in Missouri.
Well, you said trying to get elected. Okay, you are already elected.
Okay,
all right. No matter, it doesn't matter what party you're in. But what is some common sense? You talked about some changes, amendment
mind
changes.
you can't make this decision based on what you said to get elected. So no pressure.
Cool. Then I say whatever.
Well, I would hope Cody would be one of those guys that would kind of stand on what he said.
I would.
He would get elected.
By me. No,
so
I would just, like I said, man, just a little bit more. I just wanted to be a little bit harder to get a gun, a little bit harder, so that people that don't need guns don't have them. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, okay. So would you affirm if you have a a felony history or mental health or psychological issues, making that more of a law enforcement connection. Meaning, if you are under examination from a psychiatrist, right, and you are a schizophrenic, or if you are not you being schizophrenic, but I mean, you mentioned someone you knew that had schizophrenia. Yeah, who are you talking to? But would you? What are you advocating for? Maybe having something where we communicate better through Leonard. We're the only place he doesn't try to come in, I think. Well, no, he can't go in coin op either.
He usually just hangs out around outside places. He doesn't really want to go in. He just wants to catch people as they're coming out.
Yeah. Hey, let me talk to you for a minute.
His favorite spot's the parking lot because he can bombard people as they're getting out of their cars and make them really uncomfortable. Hey, I'm not trying to hurt you.
If you're not from here and you don't know who he is.
Good start to this conversation. I'm not trying to hurt you. Oh, okay, I feel safe.
I'm not going to grab your boob. That's how you start your date out. Is that how you met Steph?
I told her,
hey, Steph, I'm not going to grab your boob.
I ended up asking if she wanted to play the rape game, and she said no.
No.
So I was like, that's the spirit, and we've been perfect ever since.
Who said struggle snuggle? Who came up with that?
That's amazing.
Struggle snuggle.
Struggle snuggle goes right up there with cuddle fuck.
Oh my goodness.
I'll cuddle fuck the struggle snuggle out of you.
Philosophies and opinions of Zach are only Zach's opinions and philosophies.
They do not represent.
They do not reflect.
Flavor that comes down at the end of this fucking show.
Yeah. But free speech. You don't have to agree with him, but he does have the right. All right. So you want more communication. You want to be more established on if we have some psychological issues or
because 90% of the time, if we have a mass shootings, it's because the person was unstable.
Okay,
probably should.
That's a very good point.
And not to say they couldn't have gotten that gun from somewhere else.
Right.
They couldn't have bought a gun outside of a legal place. Not illegal.
Right.
You said you can legally sell a gun to somebody with a banknote. They could buy it like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not saying that, but just fucking anything that makes it a little bit harder for mentally ill people to get guns and have mass shootings. Like,
and then we have the situation where, what do you mean by mental illness?
Just like violent. Like if you have a tendency to lean towards violence, you know what I mean? Like if you're.
But what if nothing manifests? What if nothing manifests as violence, but you have violent opinions about stuff? Like you say violent things. Does that mean you're violent?
Yeah.
Or do you need to have something that? Well, no, because some people might think Zach's a wackadoo because he says these things.
I'm a fucking wackadoo.
But I've never seen Zach just assault somebody for no reason. I've seen him make fun of people that can't hear, but I don't. Other than that, I don't think he's ever done anything. But what I'm saying is that's why it's so complex, and that's why I'm saying we either take the laws on face value, or we look at the laws in more detail and depth, and we go further into it than that. And that's my thing is who draws the line? You know, if it can't be political, and that's the other thing is. Politics is money, and money is politics. So if you're in a political party and you're behooven,
haven't shared the golden rule.
Yeah, if you're beholden to someone, if you're Republican, a lot of times you are considered more Christian-like. You're more conservative about your values. You're more capitalistic in your values, and then on the Democratic side, there's certain things that you value more.
Wu-Tang Clan was conservative.
Is nothing to mess with.
Cash rules everything around me.
But my whole thing with that is we as a society, we have to be able to sit down and talk about it. My problem with it is we let politics, and this is what I'm talking about, the media, we let politics and the media guide kind of our daily lives. And I don't even watch the news. Do you watch the news anymore?
No.
Do you watch the news?
I still read my newspapers in the morning.
From the Onion.
Do you?
It's the only accurate source.
But do you read? I catch headlines and snippets. I don't care about opinions and all that stuff. But I just want to know, like, if there's a tax measure going through or something like that.
No, I read newspapers every day.
You actually read?
Oh, it's a GoPro.
It's GoPro.
Look like a golf club.
Doing a selfie stick. Hey, those are out like 5 years ago, homie.
Yeah, I don't just read one newspaper. I mean, I read the New York Times. I read Washington.
You read the USA Today?
I do.
I'd stopped reading the USA Today when they started giving opinions on the front page about Trump. And the reason being is it's so easy for liberal media sources to get on Donald Trump. And Donald Trump does the same thing to them too. I'm not saying it's better one side or the other, but I don't want my news opinionated. And that's why I have a problem with the newspapers, because they scatter editorialize things within the confines of the truth and facts. And where do we get our facts from now? I mean, I try to research several sources. When the media is out there reporting something happened, I want to know, okay, did this happen, or is this part of the story?
I get my sources right here from the bar. There's enough people from every single
walk of life that gets tidbits of truth here and there.
It's fantastic.
It is. I mean, this is, somebody called this the, what do they call about a bar? There's a descriptor of a bar. It's counseling, school, and parents, or something like that, basically all in.
Yeah, you got mom behind the bar, you got my counselor right here, like, we're good.
Yeah. Well, you can be consoled, and you can also be cajoled in a bar, and that's the truth. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I did the show, why I wanted to do the show. There you go.
Oh.
There you go. I was doing so good, but I just felt like, it had to be said that way. But that's
a little sober.
I wanted to.
It's rough being sober. You should work, like, not at a bar for 8 hours a day and put up with coworkers and be sober.
And then post pictures like Zach does about my life today. Ugh. Yeah. So
it's always Ben Affleck smoking a cigarette.
That look on his face. So you are watching Session Stream live from Shaker's Bar downtown Cape every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. We're talking about, we talked about some fun stuff earlier, and we're talking about politics, the media, the First and Second Amendment. And then I want to talk about, just a little bit before we get finished, about some of our other rights that have been diminished as we go along, and then kind of bring those out in the open. And one is the legalization of marijuana.
That's not a right. It was never a right.
Well, but shouldn't it be? Shouldn't you be, if something grows from the ground, like it's a plant, right?
No.
So you don't think that pot should be legalized?
Not at all.
Really?
I think the devil's lettuce is bad, and I think you hippie fucks should take your jazz cabbage on the fuck out of here.
See, I don't know. Like in this situation, I don't know if you're being serious or if you really do think that. He doesn't.
Oh no, I'm just really good at a straight face. No, someone had to be a devil's advocate here. All three of us are for it, so I just.
Well, I'm for it, but I'm for it for the right reasons, and I think
medicinally, sure.
Yeah.
I don't think we should have a bunch of hippies moving to a town, being homeless, causing strain on a community.
Right.
Not naming names, Denver, Colorado. And making it dangerous to walk down the street there.
Well, that's the point, and that's the thing is and that's what people fear, is that same thing they feared with, like, gambling and stuff coming into Cape. Once you legalize it, now there's going to be a delivery point here in Cape, Sykeston, Cape, and Jackson. Got approved 3 delivery points, and there's several dispensaries getting approved.
But I think medicinally it's more important than recreational.
Do you think it's more important than legal prescribed medicines?
Yes, because legal prescribed medicines, we're
poison.
We're literally still giving out fucking heroin, guys.
Right, it's poison, right? So here's my thing: is where did our rights get eroded away so much that we can't say I want to grow a plant and have it for myself?
War on drugs, man.
People started selling it, and the war on drugs too. The war on drugs is a joke. It was a political measure. I get the point. We don't want children doing drugs. We don't want them in people's houses and stuff. But drug use is a personal choice. Now, is there addiction? Is it a disease? Yes, I believe that people can be more addicted to things than other things, and I believe that heroin and crack and ice and
those are different, though. That's a different.
Well, and I agree too, because those are manufactured.
There's no benefits to that. That's a pleasure-seeking utopia that you're going for, not a feeling better. Like there's side effects, basically.
See, there is, but back in the day, a lot of these heroin and PCP and LSD, they were all manufactured for medical purposes. They were all experiments. They were all made with trying to treat anxiety and PTSD and
nothing better than angel dust for a panic attack.
Well, I think they were trying to find a balance. They were trying to find something. Yes, I think sometimes drugs are developed with the right purpose in mind, but then they find out there's a lot more beneficial effects of the disease, the addiction, to get people sold to it. It's a $1 trillion business, really. So my thing is, and that's when we're talking about freedoms and rights in this country. My main thing is I don't have the right to tell somebody else what they can and can't do as long as what they're doing doesn't affect me. But then where is that line, right? Some people say gun ownership affects them. They think, that gun ownership can affect a neighbor. Like you're defending yourself and you shoot at a bad guy and you shoot into their house, and that affects me.
I do think you need a stronger argument than it's a plant that comes from the ground.
Well,
because so is cacao.
So but cacao takes processing. You don't get high off cacao. Nobody gets high off cacao. No, you don't. You don't. It's actually, have you ever tasted it? It's bitter as hell. It's
it
nasty.
is, but cacao is also
numb.
Yeah, it's just numb. That's just the
cacao is also the
effects.
chocolate plant.
Right.
At 100 pounds of chocolate, it produces a high.
Okay, that's fine, but it's not a high like cocaine when it's processed with other stuff. Right. I get what you're saying. Right. But you have a pot plant that grows wild in the weed. You can literally, once it's matured, you can pull the bud off and smoke it. It's literally that, dry it out.
I'm going to mix it with some hibiscus, but yeah.
Well, whatever you're going to mix it with. But my point is same way with mushrooms. We've talked about this on the show before. Mushrooms, microdosed, can be helped with psychological issues. They can be helped with anxiety.
They're now testing LSD too.
Well, and LSD was first established.
Well, yeah, most definitely.
As back in the 20s and 30s. Did you ever see the video of they took a housewife and put her on LSD?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that one? Where they gave her a microdose of it, and they wanted to see how she acted, and there was a guy sitting there, and it was well regulated, had medically regulated, but there's a guy doing an interview with her. This is back in like the 40s or 50s, right? And this is just a housewife, just raising kids, and she came in for this experiment, and it showed the effects on her after she took the LSD, and she was happy and euphoric, and don't you see the colors? And she was describing everything she saw. If you didn't know that it was a controlled experiment, you would think there was something wrong with her, but was there something really wrong with her? My thing is sometimes it's the same thing with alcohol. Alcohol is a dangerous drug, man. It really is. And there are no benefits to this. The other thing you'd say, wine helps your blood, but there's no benefit to this. It's a recreational.
It helps my blood.
It's literally classified as a poison.
It is. Helps your blood.
Yeah, thins it. I'm obese. I'm at risk for a heart attack.
You're trying. That's called rationalization. You're trying to rationalize.
You don't tell me how to live my alcoholic life.
I'm not.
Hey, obviously, it's peanut butter. It's protein. It's good for my brain.
My whole point to this is completely legal, right? This is legal, but something that can help you medicinally and medically is not. And that's my whole point to this is we have eroded our rights away enough that a plant that we could all grow in our backyard in this country, well, some parts of the country better than others, but it's been regulated because of basically a smear and ad campaign back in the day where people reefer madness and all this kind of stuff, right?
I feel like a big old pie.
Well, they made songs about it. That they used to sing songs in choir in schools about the terrible marijuana plant and how it has to do with the devil.
It's called America the Beautiful.
And my whole thing about that is anything that we try to manipulate children on that is first of all not true. And secondly, like for example, right now we have a whole generation of children that is being educated that guns are bad. Guns are bad. Instead of saying people are responsible, people are bad, people do bad things like it should be, they're saying guns are bad. So we've got this inanimate object that is only dangerous if it's used improperly. And there's a whole generation of kids right now going around saying guns. And I get it because they've been victims or been in schools where it's been shot up.
I don't know if I put my gun on this table, it ain't gonna do shit.
No, it's not. It takes the use of someone with ill means, like they want to do something with it. You can't. That's my whole point with marijuana. You can't outlaw marijuana.
For sentient guns.
Huh?
I think this nation's ready for sentient guns.
I will save this nation.
Okay, now there's another. That's before we're closed out. I'm glad you said that. There was someone that mentioned DNA identification with gun usage, and the way they did it was when you hold
Judge Dredd style.
Yes. Bless you. So you can own certain guns, and they would only operate with your DNA. Once you hold something, the gun would operate. But that DNA was also tied into a central computer, and they basically knew when you used your gun in Judge Dredd. In that, the judges that went out, they had the best guns, the best stuff, and then you had a few criminals that had good stuff too. But my whole point to that is, I don't want it. Even though we love the movie, that was a funny movie. But even though we think about those things, we don't want that existence. Nobody wants a judge, jury existence where there's guys running around that can be judge, jury, and executioner on the scene. Well,
it's kind of like my
maybe a little bit, maybe just a little, right?
I got Chubb thinking about it, so I think it might be.
I'm just
I can
saying.
think of some people I'd like to do some Judge Dredd.
Sometimes it's okay to ask for forgiveness. Worked in the Crusades.
Yeah. But
nobody expects the Spanish
so I don't know what expects. Is that Monty Python?
Yes.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. So for whatever the side of the political spectrum you land on, this should not be a political debate. And when it becomes a political debate, we're doing it wrong. We're letting people, first of all, I don't trust the government to do anything for me. Look what they did to the Indians. Look what they did to healthcare. Look what they did to our money. Look what they do to us every day about certain things. They, in favor of making money, they don't let people seek alternative medicine, and health plans don't cover certain things because doctors and the AMA doesn't say it's okay. Look, if you have a terminal illness,
Do what I want.
you should be able to seek out whatever measures you want. And I will say this: we're not being politically driven either way, but you need to check out some things that Trump's been signing, because he's signed the right to what's it called? The right to choice, where you can look around for alternative medicine. Where you have a right
Specifically for veterans.
Yeah, specifically for it, and I think that's very important. Is veterans? It kind of all starts with that because the government's so tied in with military, but it's so important to understand that every individual should have a right to seek any kind of treatment they want to get for their own personal. Like, who am I to tell a woman what she can and can't do as far as PTSD or PMS or anything that a woman goes? Who am I? Who am I to tell you what you can't do for yourself? Who am I to tell Cody? My thing is
boss.
No, but as long as it doesn't affect your work, I have no business telling you anything. So the whole thing is when it comes down to rights by birth are defined in this country. They're defined in this country. They're defined in the Constitution, and I think that's why this country is so important, because our Constitution is one of the greatest documents ever created in the history of the world. And people can say what they want. You have some SJWs that say it's racist and it's colonialism and all this other stuff. But my whole thing about the Constitution was, when it was written, we were an oppressed people when it was written. You got to
help.
If you think about that, we were oppressed at the time when that Constitution was written.
Well,
we were rising up against oppression and tyranny. So if you think about that, I'm not oppressed now. I don't know that anybody else is. You're free to kind of move about the country where you want to go. You're free to seek jobs that you want to seek. You're free to get married. I mean, so this is the best country in the world, and because of our First and Second Amendment, we're able to protect ourselves and say whatever we want to say. Yeah? You guys, I feel like you guys have checked out.
I'm actually just thinking about, It's a Wonderful Life, the movie.
Yeah.
And it just dawned on me, you were talking about being free to do and say what we want, and how times are changing, and some people, want this to change and that to change. But then it dawned on me, you had an angel and a guy who didn't exist sitting at a bar.
You would find a movie.
And the bartender was like, "Get these pixies out of my bar."
These pixies.
I was caught up on, you said it was the greatest document ever written. Have you read Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, I'm just saying the Constitution of it would be the Silmarillion.
When I say document, the Lord of the Rings is not a document.
I mean,
you don't say that.
You type that shit up in Microsoft Word, dude.
So, so before we finish, what's one of the best books ever written?
My favorite book of all time is The Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson.
What is it?
It's the whole series is called the Stormlight Archives. It's
the what?
The Stormlight Archives.
The Stormlight Archives. Okay, and who wrote it?
Brandon Sanderson. He's my favorite author.
Brandon Sanderson. You tend to talk really quick sometimes.
Well, you talk about something I'm passionate about. Of course I do.
Right. But I want to hear you, and I'm sure people do too. Like, I love hearing what other people like to read.
because it gives me something to look for. Best book, that's my favorite series of all time. Anything by Brandon Sanderson is amazing. My second favorite book is Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss.
Name of the Wind.
Fucking phenomenal book. Okay. It is absolutely amazing.
Okay.
It's like poetry.
Couple of good books. What about you, Zach? You got a book that you like a lot that you could suggest someone should read?
Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye is really good.
The Color Purple is a phenomenal book.
Yeah. I've read both of
The
those.
Art of War is actually a book I believe.
Sun Tzu.
Dude, it's
amazing.
a phenomenal.
It's amazing. I
Phenomenal
bought that book like 3 times because I thought I lost it.
Yeah.
Now I have 3 copies. It is. Sun Tzu is amazing, and if you look at it,
Utterly gorgeous.
Well, and anybody that's dealing with people in the world, it shows you, like, it gives you examples on if you can relate the art of war to life experiences and things that happen. It's a fantastic book because it teaches you how to not get manipulated. It teaches you how to be strong in the face of danger. It teaches you how to appear weak when you're strong, so someone shows all their cards so you know what you're dealing with. In fact, if you read The Art of War, and I will say this, anybody that's dealt with, I mean, anybody should read it, but anybody that's dealing with domestic violence
needs to
read The Art of War. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman, but you need to get The Art of War and read it, and then think about what Sun Tzu was talking about. Sun Tzu was a military genius.
Well, he was a military genius, and I mean, arguably a philosophical.
Oh, he's a great philosopher.
I mean,
yeah. He was talking, because he was a general in the Chinese army, he was talking about military, but there was far more to that art of war than there was just the military aspect of take the high ground and have your enemy have to enter a canyon, you're above them. That has to do with life if you think about it. You take the high ground, you let people show how negative and...
Don't try it on a
Star Wars. He said the high ground. We're back on Star Wars again.
Anyway, so one of my favorite books is Angel's Ashes. I'm big on kind of biographical kind of experiences, especially when it comes to a society or type of people. And this was Irish. There's the Irish family that had lived in America, and then they moved back to Ireland. And it talked about how they lived and how they had to go about their life, and then the deaths they had to deal with, and then it helps to have perspective. Sure. It helps to develop, to look at what other people have to go through in life, and that's what laws and everything have to do with. Is not all laws work for everybody, and we've got to find a happy medium. And that's why I like the Constitution so much. So.
My final thought on literature, on what we need to read, in all honesty, go read all the holy books.
I think you should.
I've studied theology personally.
That's a very good point.
And I mean, I've read the holy books.
So I have in my library downstairs, I have the Holy Bible, King James Version. I have the Quran, the Holy Quran. I have the Book of Mormon. I have the
Anarchist Cookbook.
I used to have that.
The government took it.
I have Mein Kampf.
Dude, Mein Kampf is literally right there in a glass case for $225.
The actual Mein Kampf, is it over there?
Yeah, over at Pastimes.
Is it really?
Yep, they have a copy of Mein Kampf.
Wow.
$225.
So we're going to close this out because we're at the end of it. But we're talking about literature. You see a table full of guys that love to read. We still like to read. Like
I have 2 books in my backpack right now.
Like Cody said, holding a book in your hand is special. To smell it, the pages between your fingers. I know this is sounding real romantic, but it really is true.
Braille don't read the right way.
It is so lost, man. Grab a book and read a book. Don't get on your Kindle. I know it's a big fashionable thing, but man, get a hardback or a paperback. It doesn't matter, but read through a book, man, and find books that have meaning and purpose. And so have perspective in life.
Fuck, don't have to do that. Read for pleasure. Just read, man.
Man, I have to read for information. Like that's why I started reading Angela's Ashes because of The Office. You remember the scene? Are you done now? Yeah, sorry. Did you read it? Yeah, I read it. So what's the book about? Angela? The Ashes? So anyway, you've been watching Session stream live from Shaker's Bar, downtown Cape. For my guests, as always, it's Cody and Zach on my right over here. We'll add somebody in next week maybe. But we're here every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. And we can't do this without you guys. Even if we have one viewer, someone stopping by to take a peek at what we're doing, it means a lot to us, and you make comments and we can respond to it. Not sure what next week's show is going to be, but I think we're going to stop back by mental health maybe again and go into. Huh?
Plug the New Year's party.
Yeah. So make sure you come by and check with us. So as far as what he was talking about, we do have an amazing New Year's Eve party planned here at Shakers. So if you don't have anything going on, or if you do, you may want to change your plans. We're doing a Roaring 20s theme, and when I say theme, I've got a bunch of decorations we're putting up. We're going to have staff wearing period clothing from that time. Not period clothing like you were about to talk, what you were about to say, but wearing clothing from that time. Free bleed. Yeah. Like Speakeasy Feel, the 20s, the Great Gatsby. That's going to be going on right here at Shakers. We're actually the only place in town that's doing it. So if you want to dress up, have a good time, there's going to be giveaways all night. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have DJ Snaps in the house. It's going to be awesome and fun, and it's going to be a great night. So we'd love for you guys to come out. So that is New Year's Eve. That's just next Tuesday. So get on, wear a suit, wear a tie, get your wife, have her dress up, have a great night, and come down and have a good night with us and celebrate the new year going into 2020.
Cargo shorts and raggedy flannel.
20 deuce. We call that 20 deuce. I just coined that phrase. Nobody else, no rapper can ever say it. 20 deuce. 20 deuce, baby. All right. Well, anyway, that's it for us. So we will see you next week on Thursday. This will be after. We'll be in the 2020 for the next show. So
yeah, 20 deuce is 200.
Have a great New Year's, whatever you're doing. Be safe. Keep each other safe. Love each other, and we'll see you next week on Sessions. Thanks.
Go fuck yourself, Cape Girardeau.